Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The important news and editorial that will be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 13th of April. The first important news is regarding the recently proposed composition of the fact check unit. Second, compact aircraft at COP India 2023. Third is about the credit system for general and vocational education. The second last is an editorial India must board online dispute resolution bus. Today I'll be discussing two editorial, one from Hindu and other from Indian Express. From Indian Express, we're discussing Aadhaar for land, right? So apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do press a like button. And we have launched integrated test series. This is to give you a comprehensive preparation when it comes to both prelims and mains. 30 prelims question followed by 8 mains level test, right? There will be test on PYQs, current affairs and CSAT and full length test. This will be supplemented by free IELTS Gazette magazine. For more details, do refer to the description section of this video where I provided a dedicated link to read more and register for the integrated test series both for prelims as well as for mains examination. So starting the session with the first news, that is the composition of proposed fact-check unit, something important for General Studies Paper 2. That is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementation. Now, this particular news was there for past couple of months before also, but in this news specifically, we'll see the how composition part has been confirmed from the Government of India. So as per the confirmations by the government sources, the fact check unit, which was proposed under the IT rules 2021, and recently government has also come with the amendment to this rule. Now this is likely to have 4 members. Agar baat kare fact check unit ki, we'll call it as FCU. Now this FCU will have 4 members, 1 representations from IT Ministry, 1 representation from the Ministry of Statistical and Program Implementation, also known as MOSPI. And there will be 1 media expert plus 1 legal expert. So total comprises 4 members committee of the fact check unit. Now recently, the Ministry of Information and Technology has notified the amendment to Information Technology Rule, creating the regulatory regime that will definitely give more power to the fact check body known as fact check unit. Now power of FCU की अगर बात करें, जो fact check unit है उसके पास कुछ inevitable powers होंगी which call for suo motu powers to identify potential misleading content. Second will be about the collaborating of evidences across various ministries and department. And third is communicating at conclusions to social media platform, right? So these were the details that were shared with regards to the power of fact check unit. Now, how does it function? So definitely the unit will uphold the highest level of professional and ethical standard. This is the reason actually the government has come up with the FCU, right? और ये कोशिश की जाएगी that it maintain the trustworthiness and even the neutrality in identifying the potential misleading and fake news. So these are the core idea behind the formation of FCU, and the central marked such as body will have to take down with the online intermediaries which will retain the safe harbor, which is the legal immunity enjoyed by the third party content. So anything that is marked suspicious by the FU unit will not be allowed to further post out. Now fake news versus online censorship. This is again something an important aspect of the discussion, and you can also expect a question in the mains examination. For opinion based, this type of topic is important. Now when it comes to fakes and online censorship, the proposed fact check unit, that is the FCU, asked the social media platform to take down the content when it seems fake or misleading, and once the concern has been raised, it has to be removed from the platform. Now, despite the government assurance, the unit would work in a credible fashions. Even various stakeholders serious misgiving the fear and even widening the scope of censorship. The online censorship will definitely be enhanced under the ambit working toward direct control of the FC. Now, F2 is also expected to have a designated website, एक उसकी full-fledged website बनाई जाएगी where all the details will be published and all the information that is essentially required by the stakeholders would be there, and any information which is misleading will also be portrayed in the particular websites. Now, there's an appeal mechanism. Suppose an information which an individual feel is not misleading, there's an appeal mechanism which is also there. So the government is planning to establish an appellate mechanism, you can say appeal mechanism, to notify the unit. And the general understanding so far is that the people whose content may be taken down by the platform, that after the FCO inputs, they can approach for their particular appeal, right? And there's something a due process of law has to follow, then only it will be crossed out. Any person aggregated by the actions of the intermediaries based on the information identified, whether fake or false, may be taken to the standard route to the appeal as per the IT rule. So these are the other important provisions which government has come up as the appeal mechanism. Now, moving to the other news, combat aircraft at COPE India 23. Something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. I think recently we also had a discussion about the COPE India 2023, but in this context, some important points of the fighter jet become relevant for all the aspirants who are preparing for CAPF examination also. The second phase, this is the second phase of the ongoing bilateral exercise COPE India 23, which began on 13th of April, right? The first phase of the exercise began on April 20, and further the part will be developed. This was the phase which called for more further development of enhancing the relationships. Now, participating aircrafts की अगर बात करें for United States of America or US force, the second part will call for witnessing B-1B Bombardier, which is there by United States Air Force, F-15 fighter jet, and even subsequently the other important aspect will be displayed. So for more reference, what you can do, you can Google the images to get the clarity. Now, Indian Air Force will include the Su-30 MKI, Rafale, Tejas, Jaguar fighter aircraft, and this will also have a airborne warning and control system, early warning system that will be there on the display. Now, Japan Air Force is also the part of observer status for this exercise. So Japan Air Defense Force will also observe and interact with the two participating air forces. Now, something brief about the exercise. COPE India will see an air combat and more element operating in the multiple air base in Kalikadu, Panagara, Agra, and Hind, right? So the exercise is further enhanced to operate the capability interoperability between two air forces, that is India and United States. The fighter train, as I've told you, will include the part of the C-17 Globemasters, IL-17 mid-airs, and these are the some of the advanced state-of-art aircraft that will be displayed. Now, US on the other hand will display at F-15 Stryker Eagle jets. Now, what is the aim of this COPE 23? So first is to diverse the part of fighter engagement that learns from the best practices, and it helped to understand the latest development in the tactical and operational employment of the air power. The exercise will see intense air maneuvers aimed at improving the interoperability. Now, moving to the other news, that is credit system will integrate general and vocational student. Part of the relevant for general studies paper 2, that is issues related to development and management of human resource and development. So recently the University Grant Commissions has released NCRF, that is National Credit Framework, right? And this framework will functions to enable the part of regulatory framework for both universities and organization in giving the credit system. And this will also include the NIF, that is Institute for National Importance. Now, the chairman of UGC has said that free to notify the detailed implementations of the guideline with flexible to cater the part of academic requirements. So everything is aligned as per the National Credit Framework, because we have seen that this is a part of NEP, that is the New Education Policy 2022, or you can call it the National Education Policies. Now, the part of the vision which is there under the NEP, so the National Education Policy put emphasis on integrating the general academic educations and vocational and skill education, which will be integrated, and it will call for seamlessly providing the mobility between the two streams, right? So, as the vision of the NEP, it always called for quality and restructuring of the credit system. Now, it's a meta framework to streamline and integrate the credit earned through school educations, higher education, and vocational and skill educations. Now, how the credit system will actually work, I think you should know the basic. You don't need to understand in deep how does the system actually work, but आपको पता होना चाहिए कि UGC ने credit system पे transfer किया. Now, under the system, one credit correspond to 30 national learning hour in the 2 semester, and student is required to earn at least a minimum of 20 credit, right? And student earn 40 credit once on a corresponding is equal to 1200 nautical learning hours, right? But student can also earn more than 40 credit in a year. So these are the criteria set to earn the credit, and these credit earned by the student will call for period between 160 credit of the higher education and level from 4 to 5 to level 8. So if you're performing well, your level will also be enhanced. Now 3-level degree will call for 4.5, 5 and 5.5 corresponding to first year, second year and third year. This is about an undergraduate course. Now earlier every year student will have to earn 40 credit, that will move to the next level by the end of the year, and bachelor degree courses the student will have to earn at least 120 credits. Now moving to the first editorial of the day, that is India must brought the online dispute resolution bus, something important for general studies paper 2, that is important aspect of governance, transparency, accountability and e-governance. So what I'm going to discuss under this editorial, first is a theme, that is online dispute resolutions. We look into the part of arbitrations and dispute resolutions, technology as advantage, steps to consider, and the conclusion part. So one dispute resolution, what is this? By definition it says that's a form of a dispute resolutions जहाँ पे technology की मदद से जो resolutions हैं, even the dispute between the parties come to a conclusion, right? It will facilitate the part of providing resolutions to the parties, right? This is called the ODR, or you can say online dispute resolutions, right? This is how it actually functions. Now talking more about the recently concluded part of the Delhi arbitration weekend, यहाँ पे यूनियन लॉ मिनिस्टर ने emphasize किया that an institutional arbitration is something which will improve India's ease of doing business. Although performances की अगर बात करें इंडिया की ease of doing business में, which is released by World Bank, the index and an organization become very important. So this is released by World Bank. It says कि इंडिया की रैंकिंग काफी हद तक improve हुई है. In 2019 we reached to 63 from earlier 142 and among the other countries. However, इंडिया की जो रैंक enforcing contract में, that is 163 among 186 country, this is a concern. Definitely we need to work upon this. Now what is arbitration and dispute resolution mechanism? How does it work? तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने अपनी कमिटेड दिखाते हुए, अपनी कमिटमेंट को दिखाते हुए स्पीड रेजोल्यूशंस ऑफ कमर्शियल डिस्प्यूट की बात की है टू क्रिएट एन इंटरनेशनल हब ऑफ आर्बिट्रेशन. नाउ आई वुड लाइक टू हाईलाइट वन इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट हियर, दैट सिंगापुर की अगर बात करें, सिंगापुर इज अ कंट्री which has opened the International Arbitration Center and has emerged as the global hub for arbitration, right? If you are writing in mains examination, make sure you definitely quote this as an example. Now, the government of India has also given impetus and the legal part of the India, that is the Department of Legal Affairs under the Ministry of Law and Justice, has also constituted a committee under the B.N. Shri Krishna, Justice B.N. Shri Krishna, to look into the part of arbitration and dispute resolution. And yet India is not preferred arbitration destination. Even the dispute between the Indian business has to settle out of the box, and different जैसे मैंने आपको सिंगापुर की बात की, बहुत countries जो हैं they go for another redressal mechanism, but mostly they prefer India. But the point is that our mechanism is not as per with the other countries. टेक्नोलॉजी एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एडवांटेज हो सकती है इसमें. दैट इज द रीजन वी आर डिस्कसिंग द ऑनलाइन डिस्प्यूट रेजोल्यूशंस. एंड ड्यूरिंग कोविड-19 इट वाज एविडेंट दैट जुडिशरी हैज आल्सो कम अप as a part of the online resolution. They were using WebEx and other platform to get the hearing done. Now ODR is about resolutions with a virtual environment and has several advantages, right? It can reduce the burden of the court and even at the same time cost provide effective resolutions. Now नीति आयोग ने इस context में एक unique positions बताई है अपनी, where it says that this can be the epicenter for the development of ODR due to the need of efficient dispute resolution system and the advancement of technology. Now, some steps that definitely need to consider for advancing the part of the online dispute resolution. First is that incentive should be given to ODR, जो online dispute resolutions हैं, उनको incentive देने की ज़रूरत है by legislative measure. By legislative measures, I mean we need to make a law which is permanent in nature and providing incentive to them, right? So ODR is a default dispute resolutions that can even be used for the part of online transaction, fast tracking enforcement, and exempting or reducing the stamp duty and any court fees. Second is infrastructure challenges. We need to work upon this, that how we can curb out the digital divide, and also we can catalyze the part of online dispute resolutions growth. और जितने भी आधार केंद्र हैं, even the functioning ODR chaos will have to improve so that the reachability is at the highest level और जो भी technical supplementary administrative support की जरूरत है वो मिल पाए. Third, the government is independent and should export the ODR as grievance redressal mechanism also. This can be the best way that the grievances can be given. Now, proactive ODR by the government entails not only increased interest, but इसके साथ साथ जो citizen है उनको थोड़ी convenience होती है, and even the part of resolution is in a prompt manner. You don't have to wait, but an earliest resolution can be given using the ODR platforms. Now, to conclude this part, at the time when pendency of the cases is seen in each and every sphere, especially in judiciary and other platform, this can something be a very important game changer. अगर ODR को और ज़्यादा incorporate की जा सके, then it will give our desired resolutions, and even to a larger extent, it will call for a holistic and substantial reductions in the cases. Now, India may have missed the bus in terms of arbitration, but definitely it's always a time that India can improve and come up with a revamped version of the arbitration to give a resolutions to all the businessmen and all concerned individual stakeholders. Now, moving to the second editorial of the day, that is Aadhaar for Land. This is written by Vivek Deborah, and the article is relevant for General Studies Paper 2, that is Government Policies and Intervention for the Development of Various Sectors and Issues Arising from it, Design and Implementations. So what are the issues under this editorial? First is the theme, that is Bhu Aadhaar or land for Aadhaar, right? Advantages की बात करेंगे, digitalization process, even access to justice system, and even India land record modernization program and the way forward. Now, just to give you a background, in March there was a national conference, and the conference was on the theme called Bhu Aadhaar, or you can say the Aadhaar for land. Now, in this context, the National Conference for Digitalizing and Geo-Reinforcing India has come up with Bhu Aadhaar, or you can say ULPN, which is under the Samvad, Bhumi Samvad 4. And what is ULPIN? This call for Unique Land Parcel Identification Number. For every land, there will be a unique number. This is the reason in general term, in layman term, we call it Bhu Aadhaar, right? And this is under the record that will be maintained by the Department of Land Resources. Now, क्या advantages होंगे इस तरह के digitalizations के? Definitely, digitalization always has advantages, but the point is that we need to maintain some privacy also in this context. So, digitalization process of land record will call for registration to be complete and even to help the pendency court cases which is there in the dispute. Now, as the study says, 66% of the civil suits in India which is there in the Indian court is related to the land acquisitions, right? And GDP loss to this is about 1.3% due to the project pending over litigation involving in the land disputes. Now, कुछ states की अगर बात करें जिन्होंने already इस dispute के through Bhu Aadhaar को incorporate किया, these are the state. You can pause this video, you can take screenshot to take the details for all the state that has actually come up with. Now, access to justice survey is again very important. There's a platform called Daksh that has begun on access to justice when it was conducted the first of its kind survey, जहाँ पे access to justice की बात की गई है through the perceptions of litigants and subordinate court system, right? If you're writing about judiciary and its functioning, definitely you should write about access to justice and the Daksh platform. Now, it has undertaken 300 district courts all over India, जहाँ पे जो litigants हैं उनके problems को map की जाएगी, and even perceptions issues related to experience with the Indian judiciary system will have to improve using the access to justice survey. Now, the survey mentioned that access to survey by Daksh, not just that we have cleared it, but 66% of the lawsuits are related to the property. And that study concluded that the loss of productivity due to attending court hearing of the wages and business lost as 0.48% of Indian GDP. Now, Digital India land record monetization programs की अगर बात करें, this has improved to a larger extent, but in general, land is a subject which is under the state list, right? So, rights की अगर बात करें, this is a bundle of rights that is coming out of it, and Digital India records which integrate computerization, strengthening of revenues, and administration and upgrading of the land records. Now, when this has been done, the system is clean. Every plot and parcels can get 14 digits of alphanumeric unique land parcels. Computerization and strengthening land revenue is easier for registration of record of right, including the redressing of multilingual issues. Now, to conclude the part of this editorial, unique ID is assigned to each land parcel. As I've told you in the beginning, like Aadhaar, there will be a unique land ID for each of the partial land, and there will be a geo coordinates which will be there to get the part of the tracking system. Now, standardizations of the data and application will be effective to give the resolution and provide interoperability to the department, and it will also help the farmers to get the land and collateral borrow of the money if they want from the bank, because it will be giving more part of the authentication. And this will help to mitigate the pending court cases with regards to the land dispute, which is pending for a good number of years. Now, moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For first question, the correct option is B. For second question, the correct option is A. Today, the first question of the day is: consider the following statement with reference to the jute sector in India. The Jute Corporation of India was mandated for the procurement of raw jute without any quantitative limits for growing the minimum support price. At present, 50% of the food grain, 20% of sugar are required to mandatorily pack in the jute bag. So do check it out for the correct option. The second question of the day is about the new umbrella entities for retail payment. Only those entities that are owned and controlled by Indian citizens with at least 3 years of experience can be the part of promoters of NUEs. No foreign investment is allowed in NUEs in the existing guideline. So do check it out for the correct option. Practicing a lot more question will give you an edge over the upcoming prelims examination. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.